Do you have to cleanse this season to get the results you want, or to get back in alignment with how you want to feel, or get back on track, whatever it is that you're thinking right now that you are not enjoying about your physical self? Okay, we're making it work today. The boys are in the other room. I'm in my bedroom chatting with you ladies on YouTube. We're just a few days out from Christmas, and it's been a really good week. I intentionally set up the week in a way where I could have them home, be present, pick and choose the time of the days I could be present with them, how I would continue to work and move forward in the business, lead my team, make sure that I was there and supporting my clients, make sure I'm connecting and having fun with girlfriends and friends, and with a little bit of strategy leading into it and a little bit of mindfulness. I feel like it's been a really good week, where I remember last year around this time, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna be home for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna be able to somehow pull it off with Christmas and work and health and fitness and all of those things that I know a lot of us busy working moms are dealing with. And so you might already be starting to feel like, wow, I am exhausted, or it's been so many festivities. Maybe they've been fun, maybe they've been enjoyable, maybe they've had a lot of fun food and drink, but you're starting to feel a little bit off your game. You're really feeling pulled out of routine. You're feeling like maybe water weight kind of shows up, where you just feel like stuffed, full. Maybe you feel like there's extra body fat. You're starting to feel a little bit disgusted. You're maybe more tired than usual. You're kind of sick and tired of not getting your workouts in. It's just kind of all coming to a big woohoo, but you feel a little bit not like yourself. I get that. And I know a lot of people start thinking, okay, when the new year comes, what am I going to do? Is it going to be, a quick low calorie diet, and I'm just going to go all in and I'm going to burn all this body fat off that I gained, and I'm going to get rid of this bloat, and I'm going to get rid of this sluggishness? Or possibly they think they're going to go real intense, or I'm going to do a 3-day juice cleanse. I've known women that have done 30-day juice cleanses, but they want something to be quick, efficient. They want to get back to feeling like themselves. But we know sometimes with those type of restrictive, very demanding type of diets, they're not sustainable, right? We feel such pain right now that we want to push away from it, and we just don't want to feel like this anymore. But we also need to realize that we should look at a way to be pulled towards pleasure that's going to allow us to have continued ongoing success with our health and fitness, where we never really have to look at it as on the wagon, off the wagon. So you're starting to come off the holidays and you're feeling a little bit sluggish. You're feeling low energy. You feel tired. You feel disgusted. You feel like, when am I going to get time back for myself? And all of those physical symptoms, they start to actually manifest into some mental and emotional ones. And maybe the negative self-talk is kind of popping in. Maybe you're looking at your body in the mirror and you are just pretty much disgusted by the way that it looks, the way that it feels. Maybe you're beating yourself up for not having willpower again this season, or frustrated that you lost all your results, that you worked so hard to fit in that little black dress this season. I get it. And so now your wheels are spinning and you're like, well, what is next? How do I get out of this? And even worse, this feeling of disgusting or I'm frustrated, then it starts to show up as anxiety, or possibly depression or sadness, right? So not only are we physically not feeling well in our body, now mentally and emotionally, we're suffering. Can you hear my kids whistling? They're like, yes, Mom, I agree with that. That's how moms feel once they lose themselves during the holidays. Okay, so you're feeling anxious. You possibly are feeling disgusted, maybe even sad. And then it's we know this as an adult. Logically, we know a quick fix, a 3 days cleanse, or, a quick low calorie diet, we know logically it's not going to stick, right? But the pain that we feel, it gets so unbearable that we're like, I will do anything to move away from it. So if it has to be extreme, that's what I'm going to do to start feeling better. But it doesn't have to be like that. We don't have to let it get to the point where at one point, we're riding Big Mo. That means we're in momentum, right? And we are crushing on our health and fitness. We're so consistent with our routines. We're getting our workouts in. We're eating a lot of single ingredient foods. We're feeling good in our body. We're rocking the clothes we want. All of a sudden, a season hits, and then it just it all goes out the window, right? We start eating and drinking more, we're sleeping less, we're skipping workouts, we are feeling a little bit more spent with our energy, we're feeling frustrated, we're feeling exhausted, like we're losing momentum. And we know when we lose momentum, it doesn't feel good. Like think about anything in life where you were riding Big Mo. Maybe it was working towards a promotion, maybe it was something to do with your family, with your fitness, but you know how it feels when you're in momentum, right? So an object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So how do we keep you in motion all the time where you don't have to rely on restrictive diets to get back to your health and fitness? We want to be in momentum with our health and fitness in every single season. So what I'd like to do is share with you a method that we do in the Angie method about the way that we look at different seasons when it comes to your nutrition. And so we call this concept expand and contract. This concept of expansion and contraction, what it does, it actually allows you to have more structure in your nutrition and in your routines and creates then more flexibility when you go through different seasons. So let's talk about right now. We call this a season of expansion. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is just a season where we know there's going to be more eating, there's going to be more drinking, there's going to be more celebrating, there's going to be more festivities than normal. And we don't want to have to. Can you hear them? Oh my God, they're so funny right now. We don't want to have to worry about giving things up or restricting ourselves or losing out on being in the moment because we're thinking about ruining our diet. We don't want to have to miss out on connection and making memories. And so this expansion time, because you work so hard to create structure around what you eat and when you eat and how much you eat, you also know, hey, I can loosen the reins a little bit. I can be mindful outside of these different events in terms of what I'm eating so I can create more flexibility to get into the moment, have the event, and enjoy the food and drink in the amount that you want. Now, contraction. This is a season where maybe there's not as much going on. Maybe you are looking to change your body composition. So this is going to be a time where maybe we're going to have a little bit less food, maybe like high calorie food or a little bit less drinks. But either way, in any of those seasons in expansion or contraction, we're not just totally giving everything up and we're not just totally throwing everything out the window and just eating and drinking our face off. We find what works best for us in those different seasons. But we never turn it off. I like to look at it like a light switch. So when it comes to our nutrition, there will be some seasons in expansion where we want to, maybe go a little bit more dull on the light switch. So you're like, you know what? Like I'm not going to be dialing in as much. Maybe my meal prep won't be as dialed in, but I know how to eat sustenance foods and then I know how to enjoy them. So I'm not going to turn off my nutrition, right, on the light switch. I'm just going to dim it down a little bit, give myself more flexibility. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm ready to crank it. Like I got a trip coming up or a photo shoot with the family or summertime. Like I'm going to turn that light on a little bit brighter. I'm going to dial it in a little bit more. I'm going to contract how much I'm eating and possibly what I'm eating or drinking when I'm socializing. I'm not giving things up. I'm just reining it in a little bit and you go a little brighter because the season aligns with that. But you never turn off the light switch. You just kind of know where you want to be on the dimmer. And if you can think like that and you can go through the next holiday season in a year in an expansion mindset rather than, F it, right? Like I've already screwed up, right? I've already started gaining weight. I already feel bad. I'm just going to go ahead and keep eating and drinking and I will just start over in January and do like a massive cleanse. You don't have to do that, right? You just have to be like, hey, this is an expansion season. Now, what do I do next if January is a time of your life that you want to go into contraction, possibly just to tighten up your physique, get back to your health and fitness routines, just dial in on your nutrition. Okay, so this solution or method or concept, whatever you want to call it, expansion and contraction, it allows for very easy execution. It allows for an easy to follow plan, which is going to be designed by you, making it even easier because you're making the rules so you can break the rules or adjust the rules or recreate new ones. This way of thinking gives you a lot more mental bandwidth back, right? Now you don't have to be in the all or nothing mentality, the black or white mentality, where that ends up in a place where we tend to beat ourselves up, or we dwell on our failures, or we focus on our frustrations. We're rather, when we are trying to get back mental bandwidth, we're trying to remove as many parts from the equation that just don't matter. So we say don't major in the minors, like actually focus on the majors of what's going to move the needle. And so when we think about expand and contract, if we're going into that contraction phase, like what is actually going to move the needle and what will take away, give you back mental bandwidth and take away all of those thoughts or possibly actions that really don't matter. You're going to see traction very quickly with this way that I'm going to describe that you can do. And also, not only will you see traction really quickly, you're actually going to see results quickly. And maybe they won't necessarily be physical results right away, but you're going to just see consistent execution, which is going to keep you wanting to move forward in that momentum phase. And it's just going to make it pretty effortless at a certain point to get your results. And probably my favorite part about this, the way that I'm going to explain how we do nutrition come the new year, is it makes it just so easy to reestablish routines. Because the truth of it is, a lot of people think, oh, you know what, January, things are gonna slow down, the kids are back at school, it's gonna be a way better time for me, maybe, busy seasons, letting up a little bit in your career, but there's never really a good time. And so if we can just learn how to look at what's coming down the pipeline and what season you would be in with your nutrition, you can always then adapt your routine rather than even having to reestablish them. So it would just always be an existing part for you. So this is exactly what we do in the Angie method with something I like to call the easy reset. And so when I think about the word reset, it doesn't signal to me like, oh, I got to get back on track. Like, oh, I failed. It's like, hey, no, like I'm just doing a reboot, right? I'm reestablishing routines. I'm getting back in alignment with those. I'm just hitting reset. And I already have the skills established as to how to eat and what to eat. Now I just have to put a little bit of boundaries around it in the contraction phase to get back to feeling like my best self. Okay, so here's how we do the easy reset. It all starts with what, when, and how much. So what will you eat during your reset? And so if you're gonna go into this contraction phase, remember, it's gonna probably be less eating and drinking. You're probably gonna go back to your normal go-to sustenance foods, your single ingredient foods. That's how you're gonna fill up most of your day. So you're gonna think about what foods you like to eat, starting with your protein first, carbs and fats, and then you're gonna think about when. We're trying to create structure and routine. So the timing of when you eat and doing that on a consistent basis makes it easier to follow any plan. And then so you have the what, the when, and the how much. The how much is key because this is going to determine if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're just trying to stay at the same weight. And so living by those three when you do the easy reset makes it really simple to know what you want to shop for, then how you're going to prep it, and then how you're going to get the prepped food to your plate, to your mouth, in the amounts that you want to get the result. So when it comes to the what do you eat, we recommend for the easy reset, because remember, we're trying to give you mental bandwidth back. We're trying to let you have more mental bandwidth to focus on things that really need your attention. We shouldn't have to think about our food and fitness that much. It should just be autopilot behavior. But if you're not there yet and you're gonna do the easy reset, well, how do you make it as simple as possible to execute? Most of us eat very similar meals day to day. A lot of us are like, oh, I love variety. And then you ask someone, you're like, what do you normally eat for breakfast? And they say like literally the same 2 meals. Or you're like, what do you eat for lunch? And they say the same 2 meals. So you can have variety in your day. But in order to easily execute this in a contraction phase without it feeling restrictive, I recommend keeping to the same 2 to 3 foods per meal and just rotating through those. That's gonna make it easier to know the how much, it's gonna make it easier to prep, and it also will give you variety. So for example, for breakfast, maybe you're gonna rotate between 2 to 3 proteins, egg whites, Greek yogurt, and I don't know, we'll just start with 2, Greek yogurt and egg whites. And so you're like, okay, one day I'm gonna do my egg whites as my protein. I'm gonna throw in a bunch of vegetables for some carbs, maybe have it with a piece of fruit. Oh, okay, we have a Band-Aid issue. Hold on a second. There you go, okay. Okay, so then you have your carbohydrate, which is like an English muffin, it's fruit, whatever, and then you have your good fat. So maybe you're gonna throw some avocado in there. And that's your meal 1. Those are your few ingredients. And then your other 2 to 3, the next day you're gonna have your Greek yogurt, you're gonna have it with berries for your carbohydrate and throw some nuts on for your good fat. But you're just picking and choosing these foods and eating them on rotation, and then you're creating the boundary around it in terms of not having as many moving parts with all these different foods to choose from, and also boundaries around the when you eat to reestablish the routines. And so with it being less moving parts, you will find that it's very sustainable. As you go through the easy reset, all of a sudden you figure out like, I enjoy these foods and these are so easy to make. And then you know what? Because I know about how much are in these meals, if I want more flexibility while I'm in my contraction phase, maybe to have pizza night with the kids or drinks out with your husband or with your girlfriends, it's easy to be flexible in your everyday plan because you've made it so easy on yourself the rest of the day. And so that's how you do the easy reset. So do you need to cleanse? Absolutely not. Like, you want to look for ways that are sustainable. And the best way to build a sustainable plan is to think about what is your goal and what is your lifestyle. So if you know those two things, so if your goal is to lose body fat in the new year, you then have to look at, well, what plan fits best into your lifestyle? And the easy reset is a really great place to start because then you can decide, okay, based on my lifestyle, these times make sense for me to eat. And based on my lifestyle and the demands on it, these foods are super easy for me to prep from the store to the plate to my mouth. And so you think about how it works for you, and then you just keep doing that on repeat, and you're gonna have results in no time, and it won't feel restrictive at all. So, I know today got a little chaotic since I've got the little dudes home, but if you're still wondering, man, like I just don't understand it. Like, I felt like it always had to be restrictive. If there is one thing I want to share with you moving into the new year, like, you can become the new you without a restrictive mindset, without focusing on failures in the past. Like, you can decide to make it easy and just focus on what you want, make the execution of it as simple as possible, and literally be in the physical, mental, and emotional body that you know you desire to be in. So that's all I got for today's episode. Thank you so much for popping on and joining me today. And just remember, if you like today's episode, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, hit that red button to subscribe to get notifications for future episodes. And I'm looking forward to sharing more food, fitness, and fun with you in the new year.
Well, I can sing a time for you. Happy holidays.
Oh, hold on.
Happy holidays. And of course you want to sing with me.
Of course I want to sing with you. Okay, sing your song real quick.
Happy holidays, if you want to sing with me.
That's so good. All right, now sing Happy Holidays.
Happy holidays, happy holidays, happy
Oh, okay, come here. Do you want to sing together? Oh, do you need another Band-Aid? Okay, sing. I'll put on your Batman Band-Aid. Can you sing Happy Holidays?
Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Mommy kind of loves that they love Andy Williams, and they keep telling me to put on Happy Holidays, Happy Holidays. Okay, can you say Merry Christmas?